Can you hear me? I can't hear anything, so I don't know if.
Hello, hello,
Oh,
hello.
yeah, that's good.
Good. Awesome. Hello, hello. Hello,
Hey,
hello.
I'm
Great.
just trying to share the agenda without exposing my whole screen like I did last time.
Exciting times. I'm going to send out a quick tweet just to remind people. And Ben will be here shortly. Oh, there it is.
And it's just
It's just a
one
browser.
window, right? Yeah. Okay. I don't know why that didn't work last time.
Ben, you have Zoom.
Yeah. Is that how I should join?
Yes,
Can you
please.
Slack me there?
Yeah, or it's also in the calendar invite. I'm looking it up right now. There you go.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Hey, Stow. Hey, Ben.
Hey,
Hey, Judith.
Hi.
we got Avinash as well, and Chun.
Oh, I see. I didn't see them, but now I do. Hey, Avinash. Hey, Chun.
There he is.
Hey, Ben. Hi.
Sweet logo. Oh,
There you go.
that's cool.
All right.
Hey,
Unless,
Dimitri.
Oh, do you see? Oh, he just showed up?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Do you know if
If other folks are joining?
yeah.
I probably should have reminded people a little bit earlier, so it's possible that people forgot it was today, but so I don't know. I could ping some people, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. If you want to kick things off, I can also help by pinging people.
Sure. Okay, so this is the second meeting. It's been, what, almost 2 months, I guess, since the last meeting. And we wanted to kind of go over what's happened in the meantime and see if anyone's, done any work like benchmarks or anything like that. So I don't have an agenda for this one, but we can kind of add items that are of interest. One that I wanted to mention to people is the J.E. Malik memory profiling that's being worked on right now. And what else? I guess we fixed issues in BenH's lib process optimization patches.
So I mean, I'll talk one thing to those. So I think the Apple folks are turning those on and playing with them, and I know that at least Dario is working on. Does this seem weird that the auto is coming from Judith when I'm talking? Is that weird for people? Maybe it's not weird. I don't know. Okay, good. So I know that Dario is going to be sitting and chatting with me this week about adding an even higher performance message queue, specifically for the case where we have multi-writer, single reader. So we put a queue in which is multi-reader, multi-writer, which is important for the process queue, but it's not important for the message queue, for the event queue. And so I from a performance perspective, Dario is going to be, he wants to champion getting another message queue in there that's just single reader, multi-writer. So we'll see. That's just an update. We'll see how that goes. But just giving folks an update on that one.
Okay.
And I guess since James is on, James, I don't know if this is true or not, but I think you guys are playing around with those configuration settings. You're turning them on and actually trying it out in one of one in some clusters.
I think Yen did a little bit of experimentation while he was looking at failover performance. As far as I know, nothing in failover performance was related to the process message passing performance.
Yep. Okay.
James, do you know if there's been any benchmarks written or anything like that?
Benchmarks around failover?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
As far as I know, there hasn't been.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Or just general HCP performance.
As far as I know, Dario's been running the benchmarks, the lib process benchmarks.
Okay. So yeah, he's just been working on the
ones that already exist.
Yeah, it's just the message passing ones.
Okay. Do folks want to talk through the J. Malik memory profiling? Or I think right now where it is Benno is working on like kind of a design write-up of it, and he'll be publishing that pretty soon. So we can either, folks can either wait for that and have a look at it, or if we want to talk about it now, we can too.
So
We don't have Benno here though, unfortunately.
Who's working on it?
Benno Evers, who.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the only thing I really want to say about the JMalloc is don't link the shared libraries against it.
Right.
What's the preferred way to statically link it in?
The problem with shared libraries is if you link it, if the shared libraries depend on JMalloc, and then you jam JMalloc into the address space of some program that's not expecting it, things can go badly wrong, because you can end up with two different allocators owning the same kinds of symbols in the same address space.
I see. Okay.
Oh, one thing I do want to bring on, it's not specific for JMalloc, but like for memory profiling. I think I discussed with my mother about so currently on our agent, like Mesos agent process, we use usually use 1 gig or more of memory. But when I try to use JMalloc to profile our Mesos agent process, the profile shows that only dozen of megabytes are used. So there are some unknown portion of memory that either not profiled or I don't know where it comes from. So I was wondering if there's anyone understand more about why JMalloc cannot profile those memory. There are hundreds of megabytes that I just don't know where this comes from. It doesn't show on the JMalloc profile. One possibility I guess is that it probably cannot profile mmap memory, or maybe it's something related to I'm not sure if it's related to the Java runtime that James mentioned earlier.
Well, the agent doesn't use Java, so
okay.
It shouldn't be.
Should have been that. Okay.
Yeah, it would be good to look at that offline, maybe with Benno's help too.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
I think it's worthwhile figuring that out, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when you started to look at this, I thought that we were just storing a lot of history, but that would show up in the profile.
Yeah.
So it's a little odd that there's memory consumption that isn't showing up in the profile right now. It is sampling based though, right? So it could be missing some.
Yeah, it could be missing, but if we do more sampling, it's the probability of missing that should be low.
Okay.
Modern glibc also has memory profiling, which I think includes full tracing. There's some Red Hat blog posts about how to use that. So if you can get full tracing to work with the glibc stuff, then that might help you understand where this is coming from.
Okay. That down. Okay.
For the next topic, I'll suggest, I'd love to hear from Dimitri. I know he was working on some optimization patches and good process and how those are going and what the next steps are, if there are any.
So one of my patches has been merged already. And another one, we need to decide about how we plan to use arenas. Basically, I'm stuck on that.
Are you stuck from, like, you guys have sort of gotten into like a deadlock and what's the best way to use it, or just haven't had the discussions, or what's stuck?
Well, it's just I think the Mesos community should decide whether we want to use arenas, or if we don't, then this patch can be used. If we plan to use them, then what's the best approach for designing APIs, like pass by value, pass by reference. Then it's just more a question of design, I think.
And have you, do you have like a proposal out there? If you do, sorry if I haven't seen it, but just curious.
No, there's just my patch with, I think you are the reviewer for it. It's like marked work in progress, just to see the idea for optimization, but it doesn't account for arenas at all. So
right. So you don't have a arenas patch out yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry for
yeah,
interruption. Can you put a link of the task later so I can understand some context about?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think it's mentioned somewhere in this document. I'm not sure whether.
Yeah. Let me.
I mean, it seems like it would be good to do two things. One is to capture somewhere in a doc just the trade-offs and proposals. In the proposals, the trade-offs and the proposals that you have, Dimitri. It sounds like you got a couple ideas, in terms of how to use arenas, what the API should look like. It'd be great to review that. And then the other one is, in terms of asking whether or not the community wants to use arenas, I mean, I'm assuming the performance wins are really big. But if we don't know if the performance wins are big, then maybe that's worthwhile to just do a quick assessment, like just hack a quick prototype together to see what that looks like, because it seems like if the performance wins are big and we can come up with a good proposal, we should totally use them.
Yeah, I hope they should give us some advantage when using for for processing read-only data. But if we need to, but the problem is that in most cases we defer execution to some other method, and in this case we should move the object, but we cannot move it from arena without copying. That's the main problem. Like, it's often authenticate something, then defer parameters to other method, and that's where we just lose all advantages of arenas.
Yeah, so it's almost like in a const, if the install handler is taking it as a const thing, then you know that they're not going to, well, they might copy it, but you know that the intention is not to mutate that. And then if they're taking a non-const one, maybe the decision about whether to use an arena is based on the constants of the message. I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the ideas.
It might be an approach where it depends on, the optimal choice depends on, the constness or something like that.
Yeah, I was thinking about accepting parameters by value. Then it means we don't use arenas, we just use moves. And if it accepts parameters by const reference, then we can use arena.
Yeah.
It sounds like we could possibly also do a. Put something in a arena, pass it around as a shared pointer, as a const shared pointer. then like we don't even have to figure out any of the move stuff yet. We can copy the shared pointer, but it's const. So as a shared pointer of const type, that's what I was saying, yeah.
Yeah, I guess the one thing that did come up last time was this work that's being done to add the move support into protobuf. I don't know if that, I guess it landed. I just don't know if there's a release yet. I think I wrote down last time it would be in 3.4. Let's see. Looks like there might be a 3.4 already. So maybe there is a release with this, which would be great if that's the case.
Okay, cool. I think that's a good thread to keep tugging on. But it seems like in terms of prioritizing which ones we want to focus on, we should make sure we have benchmarks and or some prototypes that are showing the performance wins, because I actually have no idea. Dimitri, maybe you have a better insight because you've tried some of this stuff out already, but like I have no idea what the performance wins are there.
Yeah, I think I gained some performance with the patches that I have, but I've never tested arenas, so I don't know here.
Okay, so arenas is kind of like our intuition. I mean, it makes sense to me that it would be higher performance, but we don't know the numbers yet.
Yeah.
That depends on use cases. Like, for example, if it's registration when we want to actually copy the data in other structures, then arenas would probably make it worse. But if it's like just read-only access to the data, then it should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the challenges, Ben, is like, even if you take like a const message, you don't know if the callee intends to copy it, which arenas, well, I'm actually not sure. Is the arena copy more expensive than the non-arena copy? Maybe not, actually.
Well, actually, if you're copying from arena to non-arena structure, then yeah, that's just a copy. But the penalty is that you have to allocate the object initially on arena instead of allocating it and then moving.
Right. So, okay, that wouldn't be constant. Okay, got it. Okay. Other agenda items people want to talk about? We talked about, last time we talked about master failover work, but I don't know, some of Dimitri's work will improve that. I don't know if there's other stuff people have been interested in working on there.
The biggest thing there is I'd love for us to get just a benchmark, because once we have benchmarks, people can just start playing. Like, it's great that Dario can now be playing on improving the message press and performance, and you can just keep running that benchmark. Like HTTP is the same stuff. Like, it would be really great if we can get a benchmark in for HTTP.
I think Ilya is working on benchmark for HTTP.
He is, okay. That's great to hear.
Sorry, guys, need to leave now.
Like official.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it would be great if someone was willing to do this. I don't know if anyone's willing to, though.
At least for HTTP, I don't know. I'm personally not aware of any performance issues with the HTTP layer per se. Like, the things that I've encountered are above that. Like, dispatching a lot as a side effect of an HTTP call, or just generating ridiculous amounts of content in response, which ties up a process. So those things are benchmarkable, but they're not part of and clearly fixable, but it's not like really
Sure. Yeah.
to do
I mean,
with.
I think specifically we were thinking not just libprocess HTTP, but the masters HTTP. Like if you look at some discussions that happened in the past where someone, I think it was Dario, benchmarked the old style API versus the HTTP API, and it was around maybe half the throughput or something like that. Possibly just because of what's happening above the HTTP layer of libprocess, but still kind of the end-to-end performance isn't as good. So yeah, I mean, if I
recall Dario's, if you talk about the issue that I think you're talking about with that, it was primarily related to pipelining.
Right. So originally, yeah, I remember that. I mean, originally it was really bad because he wasn't doing pipelining, but I think even after doing pipelining, it wasn't the same performance. It was close, but it wasn't. It didn't match the original API performance. But I think the reason that I'm inclined to put that there is just that there's a lot of known overhead in the HTTP layer in the process. Like there's a lot of unnecessary work being done. Like we copy the request multiple times. And so that's stuff that we can fix that's going to definitely improve the HTTP layer performance. Maybe it's not what you guys care about. Maybe you guys would be focusing more on a master end-to-end performance test, but I think, like Ben said, we can just drive it based on what benchmarks are kind of interesting for you guys.
So I can probably spend some time, maybe starting next month. We are actually going to be heavily using HTTP API now. So until gRPC shows up, then we'll evaluate that. But until that happens, we are going to heavily rely on HTTP API, and the performance could be critical for us.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll follow up with Anand too. I know that he at one point created a small little benchmark, and I just found it in my thread here. So I'll follow up with him and just see if we can turn that into something we can commit as a good starting point. If you want to capture that, Ben, as a note and an action item for me, you can just add plus me in the doc. Okay. Okay. Should we break there?
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about a recurring schedule for this meeting if we wanted to start doing it on a more regular basis. I'd propose once a month to start out and see if we want to have more frequent after that. Does this time work? Do people like that? I see a nodding head.
And I think this time works for people on the West Coast. We might, if we have enough people in other time zones that want to attend, we might maybe alternate or something like that.
Okay, I'll set it up recurring for Shito. If you're talking, you're muted.
One thing I seem to recall is there's a bunch of people from Huawei who seems to be quite interested in all the performance-related work, but they seem to be connected with this community. So I wonder whether there's a better way to loop those people in.
I love that. Let's. Do you have connections with them? I think G might, but do you, Zitao? Because Zitao, you're muted. You're muted, Zitao.
Yeah, I'll try to find some names and see whether we want to be connected. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Cool. So we'll set it recurring for now, monthly at this time, and if we we can float it in the Slack channel, and if other people want to join who this time isn't good for, we can change it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right. So I guess a month from now we'll do the next one.
Yeah.
Are you going to schedule that, Judith, or?
I will.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool.
Cool. Awesome.
Good meeting. Thanks for joining, guys.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Cool. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.